Thank you, John Chisholm, Council. This has been a year of considerable influence and achievement for the BMA's Medical Ethics and Human Rights Department. Last year, you passed a motion deploring the Memorandum of Understanding between NHS Digital, the Home Office and the Department of Health, which had allowed the transfer of patient information for immigration enforcement purposes without consent. Such disclosures fall well below the threshold for disclosures in the public interest set by the GMC to assist in the prevention, detection or prosecution of serious crime, and are an egregious and indefensible breach of proper standards of confidentiality. The potential consequences for trust in the NHS and in confidentiality are dire. People will understandably be deterred from seeking the healthcare they need, and such disclosures set a precedent for lowered thresholds in other areas and circumstances. I have met the Secretary of State, Sarah Wollaston, the National Data Guardian and others to emphasise the unethical nature of these disclosures. The BMA was far from alone in expressing grave concerns. The National Data Guardian, the GMC, Public Health England, a number of charities and the Health Select Committee have all spoken out. Sharing information in this cavalier way has gravely damaging consequences for individual and public health, for the prevention of the spread of communicable diseases, for health-seeking behaviour, and for patient and public trust in the NHS and in the confidentiality of the doctor-patient relationship. The recent concession by the government in response to pressure from Sarah Wollaston, the Health Select Committee, the BMA and others is a welcome step in the right direction. But the proposed threshold of investigation or conviction for a criminal offence resulting in a sentence of 12 months or more is still not aligned with the GMC definition of serious crime. We will continue to resist these proposals. The BMA is leading a project to develop guidance on decisions to withdraw clinically assisted nutrition and hydration from patients. We are working with the Royal College of Physicians and the GMC, and the project is led by Veronica English and Ruth Campbell. We have consulted a wide group of professional experts and the relatives of affected individuals. We have published interim guidance and are now consulting on a close to final version of the guidance. We are intervening in a case in the Supreme Court and have shared our guidance with the court. Since 1999, we have been campaigning for opt-out for organ donation. Wales introduced an opt-out system in December 2015, and we are delighted that the Scottish and Westminster governments are committed to making similar changes. Following your vote to support the decriminalisation of abortion last year, the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynaecologists, the Faculty of Sexual and Reproductive Healthcare and the Royal College of Nursing have similarly concluded that abortion should be treated as a medical rather than a criminal issue. We are liaising with a number of organisations and individuals to achieve the implementation of your policy. I've attended a number of meetings concerning abortion in Northern Ireland and have given evidence to the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly inquiry into the cross-jurisdictional implications of abortion policy. We've been advising on abortion reform in the Isle of Man. We are part of the Back Off campaign calling for buffer zones to prevent the harassment of women and healthcare professionals outside premises providing abortion services. In our human rights work, we have published a superb report written by Ruth Campbell on immigration detention and a joint statement with the Royal College of Psychiatrists and the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health on the solitary confinement of children and young people. The UK operates one of the largest systems of immigration detention in Europe, with about 3,500 detained at a time as part of the government's hostile environment policy. Those in detention are often highly vulnerable and are placed in an environment that is detrimental to their health and well-being. We believe detention should be a measure of last resort that there should be clear time limits for immigration detention, and that it should be phased out and replaced with alternative, more humane means of monitoring. A similar threat to health and human rights results from the solitary confinement of children and young people in the youth justice system. It damages health and well-being. It increases the risks of suicide and self-harm. It harms mental health and impairs social, psychological, and neurological development. We believe it should never be used. We've met many MPs about immigration detention, held a parliamentary roundtable on solitary confinement, which was followed by a Westminster Hall debate initiated by Seema Malhotra MP, and I am soon to give evidence to the Joint Committee on Human Rights about the use of solitary confinement and restraint in youth detention. We continue to raise our concerns about human rights internationally. I've written about the harassment of medical professionals in Turkey and the killing of a Palestinian paramedic by Israeli forces. In May, my colleague Julian Schieder and I visited war-ravaged Bosnia-Herzegovina, including the site of the Srebrenica genocide. Our visit was a moving, poignant, and revelatory experience in which we met inspirational, courageous people working to achieve a better future, putting aside the bitterness and enmity of the past. Eliminating nationalism, racism, xenophobia, and hate crime, and building communities free from hatred, discrimination, and intolerance is vital work internationally and here in the UK. The work of our committee and secretariat encompasses giving and publishing advice and guidance, training, campaigning for changes in public policy, and advocating for ethical practice and for human rights. Other topics we've addressed this year include access to healthcare, humanitarian ethics, confidentiality, data protection, genomics, mental health legislation, safeguarding, circumcision, best interests assessments, the withdrawal of life-sustaining treatment from children, and the Bawagaba judgment. I'm grateful to all the members of the Medical Ethics Committee, both doctors and appointed experts, for their help with these and other issues. Finally, I want you to join me in thanking our wonderful medical ethics and human rights team, Veronica and Julian, our committee secretary Martin Davis, and our other policy experts, Sophie Brannan, Ruth Campbell, and Rebecca Mussell. The BMA is fortunate indeed to have staff of such caliber and expertise. They've been amazingly supportive to me. We should be grateful to all of them for their hard work and dedication.